Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Thursday, March 17th. So the moon is going to continue to be in Virgo all day. Again, we are very much in the full moon window. We are very much in the final days of the old calendar. We are very much in the equinox reset energy. There's a lot going on. We have a lot going on within us. It feels very pressurized, like we're getting beat down. That was expected. If you haven't listened to the Ascension forecast for the week, please go do that. Even if you did listen to the Ascension forecast for the week, maybe it's time for a refresher course. Things are heavy. Things are weighted. Things are pressurized. Things feel like they're falling apart. We are losing hope. We are just losing our thoughts, our mind, our heart space. We are losing our position. We don't know if we're coming or going. And if that is what you're feeling, you're exactly where it is that you need to be. Just a little bit of reminder, things need to get cray-cray before we enter into the new year, the new energy, the new reset. This is absolutely necessary. A state of chaos is absolutely necessary before we gain clarity. A breakdown is absolutely necessary before we have a breakthrough. So today there are 12 different aspects taking place here today. It's a very busy day in the cosmos. 8 of these aspects involve the moon in Virgo. Again, moon in Virgo, earth energy. So we're definitely all up in our physical bodies. Our minds are racing because it's ruled over by Mercury. We are trying to throw ourselves into mundane tasks and chores in order to distract ourselves from the inner workings of our mind because it's hella confusing in there. And we have to be very cautious on what it is that we're thinking about because that is how we manifest, through the earth energy. We are in a state of analyzing the inner workings of our psyche, of our heart space, and recognizing the actions that we have to be prepared to take when the universe provides us with that green light go ahead to do so, which is going to take place here in a couple of days. The moon bumps into Pluto right off the bat. Let me tell you, this is a beautiful opportunity for us to tear ourselves down so that we can build ourselves back up in a better way. Pluto, of course, is the god of the underworld. He illuminates our pain, our trauma, our past experiences, not to put us in a state of paralysis, but to inspire us and motivate us to do better, to be better, to boss up, to stand in our power, to take our control back. The moon in Virgo, again, wants to analyze everything right to death. The con side to that is that we can be overly judgmental, overly critical of oneself. That almost needs to happen at this particular point because we're going through an ego death. So it wouldn't be a bad thing to rip ourselves down and recognize the parts that we can leave behind because we don't want to build ourselves back up in a better way with those particular qualities and characteristics still within us. The moon goes ahead and bumps into Mars, and this is a positive energy. So this means that we are making some strides. We are mustering up a new courage, a new bravery. We are having a renewed sense of determination. We are recognizing where it is that our future selves require us to make some big moves right now, first in our heart space, then in our head space, and then the actions will follow. Mercury bumps into the true node. Mercury, of course, the ruler over the moon in Virgo, the ruler of this full moon event that will be taking place tomorrow. Download your moon guide if you haven't already. Mercury bumping into the true node means that we are seeing things a tad bit clearer, especially with the plans, with the steps forward that we know that we have to make now. We are having these realizations in our psyche, in our heart space for good reason. It might be painful and uncomfortable to come to these realizations, but it does clear the path. It does give us an indication, some insight on what it is that we want to do moving forward. The moon bumps into Venus. Venus, of course, is the goddess of love and beauty and self-worth and value. And guess what? She's figuring out slowly but surely what it is that she needs emotionally, what it is that she needs in her personal relationships to feel worthy, to feel valued. Again, she has gone through a major transition over the last couple of months, and she is no longer settling for things that she settled for before. She's no longer being the co-starring role to the movie that she should be starring in. And although she's been very confused as of late, the more she pulls away from Mars, the closer that she gets to Saturn, she is figuring out what it is that she needs within herself to feel safe, to feel secure, to feel like she is in relationships of worth, of value, being reciprocated with all that she pours into others and having others pour that same energy back into her. Mercury sextiles Uranus. This is a huge blast of energy. First of all, Mercury rules over the lower level intellect. Uranus rules over the higher level intellect. This is like our brain gets sparked with insight, with an aha moment, with a moment of genius. This is like we are enlightened spiritually, emotionally, mentally. We get zapped with solutions. We get zapped with a plan. We get zapped with an aha moment that's just going to make so much freaking sense that everything just kind of snaps together in our brain. Now, do we see the big, huge perspective of the path that we're about to kind of move into? Maybe not, but we are sure as hell making some serious progress on what it is that we need to do from here. This is understanding the past struggles. This is understanding the power that we have in the present moment. And this is understanding where it is that we're being guided to as we move into this brand new chapter, this brand new calendar, when we move into Aries season. The moon is going to go ahead and oppose Jupiter, though, and this is where things get a little bit dramatic, a little bit extra, where our mental plane feels like it's on overload, especially when we just received that huge download of information, that huge download of insight. Now we're like, oh my goodness, there are too many windows open. I recognize what I got to do. There's a lot of moves to be made. There's a lot of responsibilities for me to kind of put together here. There's going to be a step-by-step process that's going to require a lot of emotional investment for me, a lot of mental determination, let's say. And at this particular point, we can either become so overwhelmed with what it is that we have to do that our mental plane just kind of zaps out and we have a blank screen, or we get so stuck in all that we want, need, and desire that we get a little bit sad, recognizing the amount of effort, time, and energy that it's going to take to get there. And of course, that creates a little bit of disappointment because that means that we have to sit in a space that we're currently at without all of these elements of alignment for that much longer. Now, the moon goes ahead and bumps into Saturn, the Lord of Karma, showing us where it is that we got to boss up, where it is that we have to kind of embrace new roles and responsibilities if we want the kind of reality in which we're currently dreaming about. And let me just tell you, this is likely going to trigger something in our day-to-day life, trigger a conversation, new information coming in that's just going to put us in a situation where, guess what? This is an opportunity for growth. This is an opportunity for us to learn the hard way, or it's an opportunity for us to recognize our previous life lessons where it is that we've had some tough love thrown at us and use that experience to integrate in this moment, acting as the observer, making a different choice for ourselves in order to actually grow, in order for us to actually accept responsibility and accountability for our emotions, for our thoughts, for our actions, and recognizing what it's going to take in order for us to create the kind of reality that we're now dreaming of. The sun semi-squares Uranus. The sun, of course, in Pisces season. We are almost out of Pisces season. Thank goodness. We have Uranian energy, the Great Awakener, really creating a lot of disruption in our heart, in our head, likely coming from this external trigger point, activation point between the moon and Saturn that we're just kind of riding the coattails from. This is going to create a little bit of a disruption in our thoughts, in our plans, in our actions. What it is that we had planned for ourselves now needs to be revised. Why? Because some shocking revelations are coming in, some shocking details. Again, we're in the full moon energy. The full moon is bright. It illuminates things that were once hidden. And now with these little bits and pieces coming forth, we really do have to sit down and revise the plans that we were very certain of just early in the day. Now we have new information to work with. This definitely does have the opportunity to throw a wrench in our plans, but that wrench has been divinely scripted to see where it is that we can grow through this experience, where it is that we can even accelerate through the path that we had planned for ourselves by taking a different course of action. Now, the moon goes ahead and opposes Neptune, and let me tell you, this is where we get overwhelmed. This is where we want to escape. This is where we don't know if we're coming or going. Our heart and our head doesn't make sense. The actions that We just were exposed to the information and details that just came in, really did kind of disrupt our thoughts, our plans, our heart space. We don't know what to think. We don't know what to feel. Let me tell you, this is a time where you're going to want to just check out. We can't check out. We can't turn to distracting ourselves and hoping that things are just going to kind of resolve themselves. We need full attention. We need not to numb. We need not to throw ourselves into something else in order to escape our thoughts and feelings. And let me tell you, we're also in a sticky situation right now because Mars is going to get involved. We have the moon bumping into Mars. And let me tell you, if we act out because we're feeling chaotic, because we're feeling uncertain, we're going to make a mess for ourselves. This is when anxiety can peak, when anger can peak, when irritation can get to the freaking max, where we feel uncomfortable in our own skin. But we can't act upon it. If we act upon it, we're going to create some drama. We're going to create a cluster F that is going to really put even more pressure on ourselves to clean up the mess before we can start our brand new path, our brand new adventure. The moon trines the true node. This is good because out of this cluster F, out of this frustration, out of this disruption, out of this anxiety, out of this tantrum, we are going to see a solution. The one thing about the moon in Virgo is we are coming up with solutions to all of our freaking problems. That's why things get really turned up with the Virgo energy, because we have to face the darkness. We have to face the problems and the challenges and the obstacles, because the Virgo energy can fix it. The Virgo energy comes up with creative solutions that we would have never even thought of. It is a healing energy. So the moon bumping into the true node in this way means that we're coming up with some very positive ways to fix some of the problems that we've been having to face. Mercury, though, again, the ruler of the moon, the ruler about to stand in its place of power for the full moon peak, is going to semi-square Pluto. And let me tell you, in the ascension forecast, we talk about the dark force energies really trying to ruin the mental narrative, really put us onto some dark thoughts, really put us onto some obsessive thinking, really wanting us to relive the trauma, really wanting to activate the fear in us. Why? To keep us in a state of paralysis. The darker force energy doesn't want us to enlighten ourselves, doesn't want us to grow, doesn't want us to come up with the solutions that the full moon in Virgo is going to illuminate for us. So Mercury bumping into Pluto in this way is going to activate that very dark, that very negative, that semi-scary narrative and thought process that we talked about, that we had to prepare for coming into this week. So bottom line, it's a very, very cray-cray kind of day. It's all over the place. You are going to be challenged. There are some beautiful solutions and resolutions coming out of the day, but you have to keep your heart and mind in check.